festival city, a modern, prosperous city, a national centre of trade and commerce, an impressive city with its tall buildings and wide streets. And Melbourne has grown so rapidly that today, not much more than a century after its foundation, its population is approaching 2 million. A busy city, intent on its business and its tremendous industrial development. And its people, hard-working as they are and proud of their city's progress, are always ready for fun. There are festivals all the year round, but the gayest carnival of all is Moomba, when formality is forgotten and the Big Dipper holds no fears. So hang on tight and come with us on a tour of Moomba. It's one of the biggest organized carnivals in the world. Up in the Ferris wheel, circling slowly around the fun-packed fair below. It's a week-long round of gaiety. Each year they've a queen at the carnival too. Lovely lasses, all of them, coveting the title of queen and the honor that goes with it. Here is Moomba Queen Frege, whose family left Germany a year or two ago for the opportunities Melbourne offers. In Melbourne lives much of the history of Australia. Brought from England was the home in which the discoverer of Australia, Captain James Cook, was born. One of the earliest Victorian pioneers' homes, Como, was built in the 1840s. A lovely old home which provides a perfect setting for an Australian wool bureau display with some of Victoria's finest merinos and lovely mannequins modelling fashions created from Australia's golden fleece. Como overlooks the lovely Yarra Valley, where at the time it was erected, Aborigines still had their hunting grounds. In the spacious grounds, the descendants of Australia's pioneer sheep now show the world's finest wool. Wool to be fashioned into styles to delight women everywhere. Fashion has achieved a new look, and Melbourne is changing its appearance too. The solid buildings of last century are now rubbing shoulders with towering young giants. But Melbourne is sacrificing none of its beauty. And there are lawns and gardens to give grace and charm to the huge blocks of offices, which are rising to keep pace with the state's tremendous economic expansions. The Government Tourist Bureau is busy as visitors seek information and bookings. It's one of the world's biggest travel information centers. By air and road and rail they come, swelling the city's population as they pour in to join the week of festivity. But Moomba is not all merry-go-round and clowns, for Melbourne is proud of its tradition, and the recently completed Sydney Myer Music Bowl caters for outdoor performances by world celebrities and Australian artists. Opera, drama and ballet are featured. And for those whose fancy turns to art, there's an annual outdoor art show with paintings and sculpture. Some of the artists are known throughout the world. Others are struggling to make themselves known. Watercolors and oils, landscapes and surrealism. A show as wide in its scope as the Moomba Festival itself. It's difficult work trying to understand some of the modernists. But you can sit a while and then move on to the exhibition of sculpture nearby. The people of Melbourne love beauty, in their city, their homes, their gardens. So they have a ready and enthusiastic appreciation of the arts in every form. A little bewildering to the layman, perhaps, but to the sculptor, it's the expression of an idea. Melbourne is a gracious city, and the huge Olympic swimming stadium below is a reminder of the year it was host for the Olympic Games, the world's biggest sporting event in a city with a long and colourful sporting tradition. And that tradition's not forgotten at Moomba time, when the city's river, Yarra, is churned with the wakes of speedboats and crisscrossed by water skiers. Along the banks of this lovely river are shady spots where you can have a picnic lunch as you watch the crews go out to the start of the regatta. Racing on the Yarra or racing at Flemington, the scene of the Melbourne Cup, which brings all Australia to a halt for 3 minutes each November. The cheers at Flemington can't compare with the barracking at a Melbourne football match, for this is the headquarters of Australian rules. And even at home matches, crowds of over 50,000 are not unusual. People of Melbourne work hard, but when it's time to relax, they play hard too. For those who prefer less noisy sports, there are, in and around Melbourne, the finest, most beautiful golf courses in the world. Now to the cry of yoicks and tally-ho and hunting we will go, the fox is away and the hounds and huntsmen are off in pursuit. Across the fields and over the fences and creeks of the delightful undulating country surrounding Melbourne. This is perhaps the most picturesque sport of all, a challenge to horses and their scarlet-coated riders. But we must leave the huntsmen as they soar over the brush and fences, for in the city itself there's the climax of Moomba, the long procession of floats and girls and clowns, moving slowly through a sea of cheering people. Here is a gay, lively pageant of Melbourne past, present and future, with floats from industry and commerce. There are clowns to amuse the youngsters, the tens of thousands of youngsters. When the spirit of Moomba is abroad, everyone feels suddenly young. Floats with masses and masses of flowers. Floats with lovely lasses waving at the crowd. Floats to turn the city into a fairyland. It's a time to wave and cheer. A week for fun in a city where nearly 2 million people are pleasure bent. Moomba is not an ancient festival in the manner of those in other cities throughout the world. It is in fact but a few years old. And yet, each year it has grown. Become brighter, gayer, more colourful, more representative. Because behind it stands a city with a tradition of more than a century's pride in itself and determination to do everything well. The Chinese community does have an ancient tradition for carnival occasions like this, and the dragon weaves its way through Melbourne streets to the accompaniment of firecrackers and smoke. And so the long procession of floats passes, and the final day of Moomba is ended. But the festivities of Moomba are not over yet, and at night the city is gay with coloured lights and signs. This is Melbourne After Dark, with its nightclubs and theatres, a year-round playground for people in search of pleasure. Films and artists from all over the world. Entertainment to meet every taste. And so as the week of Moomba draws to a close, let's dance the rest of the hours away in one of Melbourne's nightclubs. This then is Melbourne at festival time, a city relaxing from its labours, taking time off for pleasure. These are the people of one of the great cities of the world, one of the most progressive and prosperous, a city old enough to have a solid foundation, and still to be reaching out towards its future. Moomba to the people of Melbourne is more than a carnival. Its gay and carefree atmosphere and its spirit of fun are expressions of their faith in their future. They are proud of their past and confident that tomorrow will be even more prosperous than today in this festival city of Australia.